Sir, can you look towards us, please? Thank you. Just down here, please, sir. Perfect, man.
Thank you. We're going to start the rest. Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon. On ending sexual violence in conflict. As you know, I've been co-chairing this week with the Special Envoy of the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, Angelina Jolie, and I'm also very, very grateful to the US Secretary of State, Secretary Kerry, for taking such time and trouble to be here today, for making a formidable speech, an inspiring speech to our summit. I will recap in a moment very briefly on the conclusions of the summit, but Secretary Kerry and I have obviously also believe we have achieved this week. And I'm very grateful, as I say, for the very strong support of Secretary Kerry and the United States, and for everything that my co-host Angelina Jolie has done to make this possible. And I'll turn to her to make her remarks before we give the floor to Secretary Kerry. Thank you.
Here with Secretary Hague and Secretary Kerry, it sends an extremely powerful message to the world that the foreign ministers of the United Kingdom and the United States are taking such a strong stand on this issue, among the 123 countries represented here over the last 4 days. One of the most heartening aspects of this summit has been to see so many male leaders from across the world prepared to confront the taboos surrounding sexual violence and conflict. Indeed, I believe that one of the outcomes of this summit is that this subject is now firmly on the top table of international diplomacy. And we will work to ensure that it stays there. War zone rape is not simply a woman's issue. It is not a humanitarian issue. It goes to the heart of international peace and security. Even more heartening is the fact that this summit has brought together leaders, survivors, and experts from around the world in an unprecedented way. I see this as a new and hopeful model for how we can begin to tackle vast global issues and strengthen the rule of law and justice internationally. I will work with William Hague and those who have joined us here for as long as it takes to prevail in the struggle against sexual violence and conflict. All represented here, individuals, agencies, and nations, have promised action, not just words. The test of whether this summit is a success will be whether or not we can truly make a difference in the lives of survivors of war zone rape around the world and take the steps that visibly shatter the culture of impunity. And I look forward to everyone who has taken part in this summit holding us to our promises, encouraging us to go further, and working with us in many different ways. And in my mind, the work we have begun here is very, very much linked to the violence against women in many other contexts, whether it is the kidnap of the schoolgirls in Nigeria or the recent appalling rape cases in India and Pakistan. My goal is that by treating sexual violence in conflict as a central issue and bearing down on impunity there, that we will be able to accelerate change in all these other areas. And that will be very much a part of my focus, I'm sure our focus, in the months and years to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
The women and men that I've met in the field, first through my work with UNHCR, and I sat with them and they were very emotional, not only about what had been done to them physically, but most of all the injustice, the lack of prosecutions for those who had committed the crimes. One of the women that I met that was very, very young, I met in Syria, who was an Iraqi refugee at the time, fleeing from that war. She then fled the war in Syria to return back to Iraq. I don't know where she is now or where she will go. So these issues are all tied together. There is not one that is more important than the other, but we must address them at once.